Hi, everyone. So we are going to continue our conversation in English with Danny, but today I have a very special question because this question is mine. I'm really concerned with my progress in speaking Spanish. So in the most natural way, I have prepared the question that I want to know the answer for. So today we are going to talk about basic things that we need in order to improve our conversational Spanish. If you're not learning Spanish, which is the chance, listen to it carefully. There are many things which will be applicable for any language, not only for Spanish.
Absolutely.
Because what is good about language learning is that methods usually can be transferred very smoothly from one language into another. And if you understand the system in general, then it becomes really easy. So, Danny, what are your pieces of advice? Because I know mine, but I'm not sure whether I can really get any results with Spanish with them. So,
hmm
what would you recommend?
Well, hello everyone, and welcome again. And my tips for improving your speaking skills in Spanish is first, move to the native word. Move to the native world. By this, I mean listen to native speakers, watch movies in Spanish, but not movies in Spanish, Spanish movies, Spanish shows,
Mhm.
the news. Also speak with native speakers. This will make a huge difference, in my opinion. So for the first one, listen to native speakers, use podcasts and audiobooks. Those are perfect because the speaker is educated and makes the effort to speak properly and clearly. So I will choose those. And then for the movies, the shows, the news is the one that shares this quality with podcasts and audiobooks because the speaker is educated and is going to speak clearly. And then watch movies and shows that's also great. You can use the subtitles, but remember not to rely only on the subtitles. Your focus should be on the screen, on the people, on the actors, the characters. You have to focus on their body language, on how they are moving their mouths and their faces and all that stuff. Okay, and then speak with native speakers. Also, that's seems obvious, but it's so important. There's nothing better than a real conversation, that's for sure, and it's always better to speak to someone that is native because you are going to catch all the accent, the pace, and the expressions, and you will be able to imitate their faces, their mouth, their tongue, and everything. All right, that's the first tip. Then the second tip is to repeat what you hear all the
Mhm.
time, whether it's a podcast, an audiobook, a movie, or a song. Just repeat what you hear. This is very powerful tool. So there are some repeating techniques like shadowing that work great. I will take a look at it. And yeah, if you talk to someone like your tutor or your teacher or your language partner, try to record the conversation so you can hear it again and repeat it again. All right. Third tip, read out loud and write out loud too. This will, yeah, these three facts, reading, writing, and speaking are um, closely connected in your brain. So this will help you a lot, a lot. Yeah, this is one. This is self-explanatory. So I will advance to the fourth tip. The fourth tip is speed up. Speed up.
That's
This is a
difficult.
tricky one. Yeah.
That's difficult. It's a challenge. Yeah.
This is a challenge,
Mm.
so it's not for beginners. If you're a beginner, you have to pay attention to say things properly in a calm pace, so you are relaxed. But once you've reached an intermediate level, like you did, yeah, you have to bring your speed a little bit up, just a little bit.
Mhm.
So how can you achieve this? This is tricky. So You can practice reading. We said before that you should read out loud, so you can choose a text that you like. If it's too long, you can cut it into pieces and take one of those pieces and read it.
Mm-hmm.
First time you're going to read it slow, but the second time you're going to read it faster. By the third or the fourth time, you are going to be close to a native speed. So this is very useful. This is very useful. Okay. And then after you are sped up your reading, you can try to speed up your speaking. Okay. The same way that you read that you did reading, you can do it with an audio. Take an audio where a native speaker is speaking, and listen to it and repeat it. Repeat it again and again until you reach the native speed. And also you can practice your pronunciations. So this is great. Also, what else? Yeah, pay more attention when you listen. Pay more attention to word linking. This is key. So this is key. So for example, let's say the chairs. The chairs in Spanish is las sillas. Okay, las ends with an s. Sillas begins with an s. You can link those words. Las sillas become las sillas. So this is actually going to allow you to speed up your speech. This is very useful. And then identify your tricky sounds. For example, if you have difficulties with the double R or the G, well, practice those sounds. Practice them until you feel comfortable with them, so you don't stumble while you are speaking. Okay, this is very useful too. Also, ask your teacher or your tutor to speed his speech up. So if you feel comfortable with your listening and you are understanding everything your tutor says or your teacher says, just ask him, go ahead. Hey, can you speak a little bit faster, because I'm getting used to your pace. And I insist, the Spanish speakers speak so fast. So this is something that you have to start doing. Okay. I have one more. It's yeah, this is very important. This is so crucial. Don't be afraid of making mistakes.
Wow, that's a tough one. I don't know why, but psychologically, I think this is a Slavic feature in general. But somehow, all people who I know coming from not only post-Soviet countries, but for example, I have a lot of friends in Poland and in the Czech Republic. They experience the same problem. Somehow, mentally, we are much more aware of our mistakes, and we are much more cautious when it comes to making them. So, and it is so difficult I had to, at a certain stage of my life, I had to make conscious effort to allow myself to do it, like to persuade myself that I could actually make mistakes and nothing horrible happens.
Nothing horrible happens. Okay, people are going to understand you, and yeah, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Many people I know, many students avoid talking because they are just afraid of making mistakes, because they are shy or not confident. I'll tell you, this is the worst enemy of your speaking skills. Just the worst enemy.
Yeah,
so,
I fully agree with you here.
Yeah, you have to make the effort. I know it's hard. I know it's hard because obviously when you're a beginner at something, you just lack confidence because you're not an expert, so you lack confidence. But the main thing you have to do is stop worrying about what others think. Okay, stop worrying. Stop worrying. If they are native speakers or they are advanced students, they will understand you even if you are wrong, even if you make grammatical mistakes, even your pronunciation is not good. So it's going to be fine. They will understand you and they will be nice to you. Okay. So don't worry. And if they are students like you, they know what you are going through, so they will be also nice to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and another tip is to practice with yourself, to talk to yourself all the time. I do this with English, I do this with French and other languages that I want to improve. I go by the street and I go talking to myself. So I may, yeah, I may look crazy, but
So
it's
may
very
I. I
useful.
do it all the time. And sometimes I think people think I'm mad. Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's okay.
That's okay. I don't care what other things, so that's fine. And yeah, imagine yourself in common situations, like for example, ordering food. Put yourself in both ends. Pretend you're both the waiter and the customer.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's very useful. Uh, yeah, and try to start thinking in Spanish. Okay, for example, you have a list, to-do list for today. I have to go to the supermarket and I have to buy fruit and rice. Okay, say it in Spanish. Okay,
Mhm.
say it in Spanish. Then I have to wash the dishes. Okay, say that in Spanish too. So yeah, you just try to do it, and you will feel an improvement there. And also, if you have pets or plants, you can talk to them in Spanish. Okay, so that way you don't feel shy because you're not talking to anyone. You don't feel that lack of confidence, and you don't worry about mistakes because you're talking to yourself. You're talking to your dog or your cat, so you don't have
Oh,
to be worried.
my cats actually make very good speaking companions because they somehow manage to make very clever faces listening to me speaking Spanish. So, but they
Yeah,
love Spanish in general. They are
yeah,
trying to
pets love Spanish.
participate, participate whenever we have a class. So, yeah. So they are good Spanish speaking companions.
At least good listeners, yeah.
Yeah.
So please, Mila, tell me if this was useful for you. And I also would like to know what difficulties you face with your speaking in Spanish.
I think my main difficulty is the lack of time, but I'm trying to
Mm,
take it easy because this is something I'm not going to change, to taking into account my lifestyle. Yes, in the ideal world, I would love to have 3 hours a day for learning Spanish, and I would thoroughly enjoy that.
mm,
But this is not something that is going to happen in the nearest future. And in reality, I don't even see the time when it could possibly happen. No, sometimes I start dreaming about the time when I'm retired, about 70, all my kids are married, living their own life. But in reality, I don't want to put off my life until I am 70. I want to live
mm,
now. That is why I am, and there is no solution to this problem. So I'm just
mm,
taking it easy. And each time I feel a little bit sad about it, I say, okay, it's better to have something than nothing. Okay, if I have 15 minutes for my Spanish a day plus 2 classes a week, perfect. This is what I have. I must be happy with that.
mhm,
Yeah. So my main difficulty is the lack of time, but this is the only solution I have. And with everything else, I really agree. I think that this way of talking to yourself, although it sounds a little bit crazy, is probably the most useful thing to identify the vocabulary you need. Now, if I start to describe my everyday routine and I get stuck, and I feel that, okay, this is something I know how to say, and this is something I know how to say, but for example, I don't know how to say that I have to tidy up my desk. Okay, that's the word that I need now, and this is
mhm,
very useful. I simply write it down, then I find the words and try to make up sentences with them. When I feel confident about talking about everything in my flat, then it means that it's time to go outside. And in the same way, comment on everything you see. As soon as I get stuck with the word that I do not know, I do not know how to explain, it's time to write it down. So it's not only good for speaking skills, but it is very good for identifying the vocabulary you need, because sometimes people get stuck at that point. Okay, what words should I learn? This is the way to identify the words you need, because this is the things you're going to talk about. You're going to talk about your reality and something that makes your environment. So it's easier to start with the words to describe your reality. Yeah. I think that probably the most difficult thing for me is some specific Spanish sounds, although I must say that it's not that difficult, because the majority of the sounds are pretty similar to Russian and Ukrainian, so it doesn't make such a huge difference. Yes, there is this weird w, which is not b and not v.
But the L-O-O.
Yeah. And I'm never sure how to pronounce it, but okay, so that's not like 10 sounds, this is one. There is also a problem with this dental th, yeah, but it is a little bit easier because it's mostly like in English. Yeah, slightly different, but at least it is also, yeah, intradental, so it's okay.
Oh, I think you guys also have the sound, right?
Yeah, we have
So that's
and
easy
that
for
is
you.
why we are lucky. Yeah, in
Yeah, Russian
general,
speakers, you're lucky, guys. You're
yeah.
lucky because
In
that's
terms
it.
of phonetics, I think that it is pretty easy for Russian speakers, because we have almost all the sounds, even with this double r, r. It is r. It is more or less okay, because we do not usually have it as a double sound, but it's pretty easy, because when kids are little and they are just learning how to pronounce it, and Russian, they very often do a lot of exercises like something growl like a lion. So in Spanish, you have just to remember that, okay, you must be like a lion, and it will be pretty
That will
easy.
work, yeah.
Yeah. So in general, I think that for me, I can't say that I'm facing so many challenges, but I understand that this is just the right time to speed up. And sometimes I'm a little bit lazy about doing that. Yeah, but this is probably what I have to invest my efforts into now. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
that was
think.
a cheap design
Yeah.
specifically for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really appreciate it. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing so many
You're
useful,
welcome.
interesting ideas. So dear friends, if you have some questions and if you want some specific topics that we could develop on, you should just leave your questions in the comments below this video, and we will try to answer them in our videos, so that you have some other options, yeah, to choose for your language learning. And we wish you good luck with any language you're learning. I would certainly love you to experience Spanish, because for me this is a language that just brings me a lot of joy and pleasure. So I think my two favorite foreign languages are Portuguese and Spanish. I can't really explain it. I don't know the reason, but they bring me so much joy and happiness that I want everyone to start learning Spanish and Portuguese. But
We are cheerful people, yeah.
yeah, because every time I speak these languages, I experience so many positive emotions that sometimes this is the moment that completely makes my day, you know. So
Happy to hear that,
yeah.
yeah.
But I think that everything that is true about one language is also true about another one. So whatever language you're learning, good luck with it, and remember that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay, bye bye. See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Bye bye. See you.